This is K2 News at 5 on your side.
It's a big animal, maybe a ton and a half or 2-ton animal. So moving an animal like that to try to get it out to sea is complicated.
Now at 5, a heartbreaking ending to a story that went viral over the weekend. A community coming together to try and save a stranded humpback whale on the Oregon coast. Sadly, despite exhausting all efforts, local groups report that whale has been humanely euthanized. We have been working to confirm with officials for the last hour. Thanks for joining us for this special digital edition of K2 News, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
I'm Deborah Knapp. Our newsroom got a lot of calls and emails about this, even from people outside of Oregon. Happened along the central Oregon coast at San Marine State Park, north of Yachats, south of Waldport. The whale became stranded on Saturday. K2's Shelby Slaughter headed to the coast today to find out what happens next.
Experts and scientists have been here all weekend trying to figure out how to return this whale to the ocean. I'm told this humpback whale is 1 to 2 years old, and we know it washed up along the beach in some netting. I spoke with Lisa Ballance, the director of the Marine Mammal Institute at Oregon State University, about the effort to try and get it to the water this morning during high tide. She tells me that effort failed. Now she says the whale is set to be euthanized today. I spoke to her more about the decision to get to this point. This is what she had to say.
Once the high tide came and went, it became clear that the rescue effort was not going to be successful, and there was no need to try it again because we had already tried it and we didn't have any other options. At that point, the decision is what do we do with the animal that is the most humane thing? We can leave it alone, or we can try to euthanize it.
Now, a necropsy will be done to see how or why this whale died. This is done so scientists can learn if there is something going on in the ocean ecosystem that they need to know about. And it's still not known what will happen to this whale's body. I'm told there is an idea being thrown around of burying it in the sand so it can become part of the ecosystem here along the coast, but that still hasn't been decided. Reporting along the coast, I'm Shelby Slaughter, K2 News.
Well, based on the overwhelming response we've received online, we know this outcome is devastating for a lot of our viewers. So if you ever come across a marine mammal stranded on the coast, contact the Oregon Marine Mammal Stranding Network. They have a form online that you can fill out identifying what type of animal it is, where it is, and its condition. It'll also ask you to share photos and identify any key markings. We have a link to the form on our website, k2.com, right now. Another major story we are tracking tonight, the former pilot who tried to cut a plane's engines back in 2023 will not serve prison time. Joseph Emerson was off duty at the time.
He pleaded guilty in September to a federal charge of interfering with a flight crew. And today, a judge sentenced him to time served and 3 years supervised release, calling Emerson's behavior that day out of character. K2's Tanvi Verma has that story.
The judge said Emerson rightfully lost his certifications to fly, which she says is a big deal because it was always his dream since he was a little kid to fly. She also says he paid close to $60,000 in restitution. Family and friends walking out of a federal courthouse Monday after learning former pilot Joseph Emerson won't spend any further time in jail.
It's just relief.
This comes a little more than 2 years after he tried to shut off a plane's engines mid-flight. This is video of Emerson appearing in Multnomah County Court just about a month ago. He pleaded no contest to 84 local charges, including 83 counts of recklessly endangering another person. Emerson says he was having a bad reaction to psilocybin, or mushrooms, following the death of his best friend and a struggle with untreated alcohol use disorder. These are struggles that his loved ones understand deeply. How are you guys feeling?
Relieved and excited that the progression of mental and physical health within the aviation community is going to continue, and that Joe gets to be a strong fighting force for that.
Yeah, overwhelmed that he's getting to be able to help lots of pilots.
Since the incident, Emerson has started a nonprofit called Clear Skies Ahead, which advocates for policies that support pilot mental health.
Joe's a great guy, and it's just, mental illness is a real thing. Many of us are suffering. We have no idea what anyone's going through today.
Two victims of the incident also speaking out. One woman said that she and her husband will never feel as safe flying as they once did. The federal government arguing in court and in court documents that it was only through the heroic actions of the flight crew who were able to physically restrain the defendant and restore normal operations of the aircraft that no lives were lost that day. To see why Emerson says he is not a victim, you can go to our website at katu.com for an extended version of our story. Reporting in downtown, Tanvi Verma, K2 News.
Tanvi, thank you. And while Emerson will not be spending any more time in jail, he won't be spending any more time in the skies either. Following the incident, the now disgraced former pilot lost his job, career, and decades worth of certifications. As part of today's sentencing, he must also keep at least 25 feet away from any operable aircraft unless he has permission from his probation officer. As Tanvi mentioned, in court, the judge commented on the fact Emerson wanted to be a pilot since he was a child. She says considering how his life was so committed to aviation, she believes these punishments are enough. We have been following this case since the very beginning, including how this case has been renewed. It's renewed a focus, in fact, on pilot mental health and why pilots may be hesitant to get help, plus how passengers feel about his punishment. Find those stories at katu.com.
Taxes are getting outrageous. Everything's expensive right now, and people just can't afford it.
Developing tonight, a Republican-led effort to put transportation tax increases on the ballot next fall gaining momentum. The No Gas Tax campaign is in response to Oregon's controversial transportation bill. The bill is set to increase the state's gas and payroll taxes, registration and title fees, and more to fund ODOT. Petitioners have until December 30th to collect more than 78,000 signatures. In less than a week, they're more than halfway there. Some Democratic leaders are urging people to think twice about signing. They warn without the funding, ODOT could see hundreds of layoffs and service impacts, making for some dangerous driving conditions later this winter.
Tonight, Portland city leaders say they are down to just 3 candidates for the new pivotal role of permanent city administrator. It's part of Portland's new form of government. The new hire will oversee the city's budget, thousands of public servants, and serve as an advisor to Mayor Keith Wilson. The city launched a nationwide search in August. Nearly 100 people applied. City leaders are conducting final interviews this week. Whoever they pick, set to start by January.
Well, tonight you're invited to attend a special screening of Beyond the Handout, a recent documentary by K2's Angelica Thornton. It is an in-depth look at Portland's seemingly never-ending struggle to tackle the homeless crisis on the city's east side. One nonprofit is trying something different. People who've lived the problem are becoming the solution. There are 2 screenings, one's at 6 and the other's at 7. You'll get to hear from Angelica. She'll be on a panel after each screening. This is happening at Academy Theater on Southeast Stark. Free to attend, but seats are limited. You can register online. The Oregon Department of Justice launching a new crime-fighting effort. It'll target organized criminal networks.
That program called SPIRE places state investigators directly alongside local law enforcement. The goal is to combine local and state resources to look beyond everyday arrests and uncover the networks behind large-scale criminal operations like human trafficking, drug distribution, and large-scale theft.
What we really started to see in talking with local law enforcement and district attorneys that there was a gap that needed to be filled. Where a lot of local law enforcement is focusing on the day-to-day, there's this second layer of turning over the stone to really look at what are the root causes of some of the things that we're seeing in our communities.
The program will only operate in Washington County right now. The DOJ hopes to take it statewide in the future. Well, tomorrow here on K2, while youth crime in Oregon is down, violent crime involving teens is up. Join us as we take a deep dive into what's driving that increase and what could be done to stop it. You'll hear from experts, victims' families, and even those now growing up behind bars. K2 investigates the cost of redemption errors tomorrow night at 6:30 right here on K2.
Well, a tragic update tonight in the search for a missing hunter who disappeared weeks ago. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says they've recovered what is likely the remains of Devin Dobeck. The medical examiner's office still needs to confirm. Dobeck was reported missing October 31st after failing to return from a hunting trip in the Mount Hood National Forest. The official search was suspended November 7th. But community members, family, and friends continue to look for him. The body was found yesterday at the base of a cliff.
Earlier this month, the Oregon Department of Emergency Management issued a reminder to plan ahead for outdoor adventures. They cited several recent search and rescue missions tied to weather, mushroom foraging, and hunting season. Even the most experienced people can get into trouble. Before heading outdoors, check the forecast. Conditions can change quickly. Research your destination, route, and terrain difficulty. Pack essential items, including food, water, warm clothing, and a fully charged phone. Tell someone your plan and when you'll be back. And finally, stay on the marked trails, especially when foraging or tracking game.
Meteorologist Dave Selesky joins us. A lot of people taking advantage of today's dry weather, raking their leaves, getting those leaves into the street for leaf day.
I think you got a couple more dry days as well out there. For most of us, it's going to be a little chilly for overnight lows. Looking ahead, there's a live look outside now we have for you from our camera up on top of Big Pink. And again, currently we have mostly cloudy skies over Portland, 50 degrees the temperature this hour. Over on the Oregon coast, our live camera, courtesy of Shiloh in Warrenton, looking back at the Young Bay Bridge. We have clear skies there, 47 the current numbers, and up in the gorge from our Visit Hood River location, overcast skies now, and 46 the current temperature. Now, watches and warnings, nothing for tonight, but beginning late tomorrow night, Tuesday night, going into Wednesday morning, we are going to have a freeze warning for a good portion of the eastern end of the Columbia River Gorge and up into parts of the Columbia Basin. Temperatures here by Wednesday morning dropping down into the 20s for overnight lows. Now, highs today, not too bad, close to seasonal averages, 55 for both Portland and Vancouver, 54 over in Pendleton, just 49 this afternoon for Baker City, down in the Willamette Valley. Salem, you were at 53 degrees, 55 for Tillamook, and the same thing for Kelso this afternoon. Now, on our hour-by-hour forecast, a weak ridge of high pressures building in. So again, dry skies between now and tomorrow morning. Now, we will have some fog forming up in parts of the Coast Range, parts of the Willamette Valley, and I wouldn't be surprised even here in the immediate metropolitan area. Light wind, higher humidity, and some very cool temperatures this evening will cause that fog to form. It'll give way to partly cloudy skies late tomorrow morning going into the afternoon. There's our ridge of high pressure, drier northerly flow right there. We get in towards Wednesday. We're still dry until late in the day, when a cold front, a weakening cold front, will move into the northwest, increasing clouds, some rain developing late Wednesday, taking us into Thursday for some more rain. Then by Friday, a brief break. We have dry skies back in the forecast for you. But again, it'll be a brief break. The weekend right now looking to be on the cool and showery. And as far as our rainfall totals go so far for the month of November, all 17 days, 2.77 inches of rain. We're just barely above average and just 0.03 of an inch above where we should be for the month of November so far. Now, temperatures, overnight lows tonight, we're dropping down to the upper 30s and low 40s. Highs tomorrow, low to mid 50s. Then going from Tuesday into Wednesday, a little warmer. We'll see highs in the mid 50s out there. And I think by Thursday, again, daytime highs up into the 50s. So your forecast tomorrow on the coast, some morning clouds, maybe a shower early tomorrow morning. From weak trough passing by for the ocean beaches, 53 for Ilwaco, same thing for Astoria, and 54 for Lincoln City. Light and variable winds by the afternoon, back to drier skies and partly sunny skies. In the Willamette Valley, outside of seeing some morning clouds and some fog, it'll be dry all day long. Light and variable winds. A little cool, though. 50 for your high temperature for Aurora, 54 Longview, and 49 in Troutdale. Now, going up into the gorge and the Cascades, morning clouds, then partly sunny skies in the afternoon. 51 for the Dalles. 37 will be the afternoon high tomorrow up at Government Camp. And then in central and eastern Oregon, maybe a shower tomorrow morning up in the Blue and the Wallowa Mountains up here in parts of northeastern Oregon. 35 and 51 the low and the high in Baker City. 50 for your high in John Day, and just 47 for the high temperature on Tuesday in Bend. Now, tomorrow for Portland, 53, 55 for you on Wednesday. Again, dry skies. Thursday, we have some rain showers, mostly dry on Friday. And then showers are back in the forecast on Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures again in the 50s for daytime highs, overnight lows, upper 30s and low 40s. So things pretty quiet. Very, very quiet for the middle part of November.
That's the way we like it, Dave.
It's going to be that way for a while.
Calm.
Yes.
Still calm.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Thanksgiving just over a week away. And once again, it is expected to be a record-breaking weekend for holiday travel.
Nationwide, in fact, nearly 82 million Americans set to travel 50 miles or more from their home this year. A record 73 million will drive, including 1 million Oregonians. Despite cancellations and delays during the government shutdown, air travel is also expected to set a record. The FAA has lifted flight restrictions.
People were worried about their flights. You know, will my flight be canceled? Will I have to sit in airports for hours and hours if my flights are delayed? And so we feel that a lot of people are feeling better about the prospects of flying right now. And so we think that people who had plans to fly will probably follow through and fly to their destinations.
90% of travelers will drive. Those who did change plans to drive instead of fly will likely drive farther than they normally would. If that's you, be ready for winter driving conditions. The top 3 issues AAA responds to: dead batteries, lockouts, and flat tires.
Travel by bus and train is also up this year. Cruises are more popular than ever. AAA says it's possible some travelers who were planning to fly switch to these options instead. The top 5 destinations in our region: Bend, Seattle, Portland, Boise, and Lincoln City on the Oregon coast. Top 3 U.S. destinations are Las Vegas, Anaheim, and Maui. The top 3 international destinations include Barcelona, Paris, and Amsterdam. And we look ahead to Thanksgiving. As we look ahead, some of you may also be looking ahead to Black Friday.
Did you figure out what you're getting me yet?
Yes.
Same thing you got me last year?
He knows me well.
Yes, but experts warn that might be too late if you want to ensure certain gifts are under the tree. Tariffs are hitting the toy industry, resulting in rising prices and less inventory. According to the Toy Association, roughly 80% of all toys sold in the U.S. are manufactured in China, which have been hit hard by tariffs. Some toys might not even go on sale.
Tariffs did disrupt the entire industry, and people paused shipping earlier in the year. If you see something, buy it.
The Trump administration implemented tariffs to generate revenue and encourage companies to make items in the U.S. According to the National Retail Federation, shoppers plan to spend roughly $890 on gifts this holiday season, Deb. Families with kids will spend about $30 more.
Is that just what you want
Hint.
me to spend for
That's
you?
hint, hint.
Okay, well, this time of year can be tough for a lot of people, especially given the recent government shutdown. Today, employees at Zupan's Market joined Sunshine Division to build hundreds of Thanksgiving food boxes for families in need. Sunshine Division expanded this year's Thanksgiving meal delivery to serve an additional 750 households in response to unprecedented demand for food assistance. Zupan's also increased its food donations. The boxes will be delivered to more than 2,700 homes this coming Saturday. That does it for this special edition of the digital edition of K2 News. Monday Night Football is on K2 right now.
The Dallas Cowboys making their Sin City debut against the Las Vegas Raiders. Be sure to stick around for a special post-game newscast on K2 News. We'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks for watching, folks.